Thank you, Brian. And welcome, everybody. All 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of us. And how many on Zoom? Who do we have on Zoom? Frank? Thank you.
It looks like we have 6 on Zoom.
Okay.
We got Elizabeth, Emma, Jay, Lincoln, Gary, Christina, and Elizabeth.
Good. Welcome, everybody on screen. Welcome, everybody on the room. Anyone who wants to move forward a little bit so we can feel a little bit cozier is welcome. And if more people come in, I appreciate everybody coming out this morning. My name is Betsy, and I'm here once a month. Our guest musician is Brian, and our tech person is Frank, and greeters, Russ and Kate, David. Thank you all for helping out with the service. So before we read our covenant, let's just take a moment and be thankful that we're here, and just take a breath or two, relax into your self, your soul, this little community we have here. So I like to have little pockets of silence in our service and pockets of sharing in our service. And that's what we're here for, to all partake. So I would like us to read, today we have a very short, sweet condensation of the UU 8 principles. And I'd love for us to read them together. They're in your order of worship. And let's read them very slowly so we let them sink in a little bit. So here begins. Each person is important. Be kind in all you do. Help each other learn. Search for what is true. Each person has a say. Work for a peaceful world. We join the web of life. And the new one, we challenge systemic racism. So, recap of the 8 principles. This is one of our guidelines that we all potentially, hopefully live by. And I like hearing them so short and sweet. So keep that in our hearts. And Sandra, I'm going to ask to light our chalice today. And for a minute to light it, and then we'll all read the chalice lighting together. And thank you. So let's also read this nice and slowly. Let it sink into our hearts. So, ready? God, whose other name is love, light us with this love, so love may change, challenge, and transform us and the world. Love that speaks truth to power, knows no borders, that risks it all to insist that everyone is a sacred gift. The light of the world shines in us all. Thank you. I'm going to play a little bit more. He was playing that. Yeah. I'm going to play a little tiny bit more. before we move on to more words. Thank you. So as many of you know, every month maybe many ministers, look at the UUA holy days and themes of the month. And there's always a lot to choose from. And this month, there's a lot of very meaningful holidays. Black History Month, and I would love to do a service on that. This is not it today, but just to honor the need for more attention to Black history, to harm of police forces, to reparations, to equity in so many areas, to systemic racism, ongoing need for work for all of us. Imbolc, pagan Wiccan holiday, the promise of spring, the practice of clearing, purifying, cleansing. Valentine's Day, which some of us love, some of us feel it's too romantic based, but love of all kinds. V-Day, new holiday, global activist movement to end violence against women and girls around Valentine's Day. How love starts and can turn to something else, and it's about stopping that violence. So many, many things to celebrate and pay attention to, but the theme I chose was religious authority. And just hearing those words to me sounded pretty heavy, a little bit fixed, a little bit formal, a little bit tinged with fear. This is how I heard it: religious authority. Maybe some dogma, doctrine, definite determinations not to be questioned. And I thought, wow, I'm having a strong reaction. I don't want to have a faith of do nots. I want to have a faith of do's, what to do, how to be. So I acknowledge I'm a little bit of a rebel at heart when I hear authority. I don't give my choice or my power away very easily. I'm very eclectic in my faith, and I learn from a lot of different faith traditions, from Wicca to Buddhism to Quakerism to UU. And there's plenty to learn, and I don't feel the need to commit allegiance to one wisdom source. And I invite you to think about that for yourselves. What do you follow? What inspires you? I believe more, there's a great saying by the AFL-CIO: if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So that's another way to ask it. What do we stand up for? Who do we stand with? I believe in collective, collaborative authority. So working together, deciding together, enlightening each other. We're all teachers in here. I mean, I could name 5 teachers in here right now, spiritually to me. Sandra, you teach me about the wisdom of wise women worldwide. Maria, same, both of you. The song, we had a wonderful sing the other night, just singing our hearts out. Kate's taught me how to be patient and crochet and take my time at things. Annie breaks out in song every time I see her. Just little moments that we inspire each other, light each other up. So we are each other's teachers. But if I think of religious authority, in my mind, I switched it to spiritual authority. And just think of the word spiritual for a moment. What comes up? Maybe not the organized religion, the doctrine, but the sacred feeling, the heart speaking, any energy that's freeing, healing, connecting, mysterious, peaceful. That's the kind of energy I want to tap into. It's also a very powerful energy because it can change things. And that's where the agency comes in. Where's our action? Where's our dedication? So we can give authority to an organization, UUA, a diocese, a political group, a meditation center. We can ascribe authority to a person or a deity, or Mother Nature, or a part of Mother Nature. I certainly respect and revere Mother Nature and learn a tremendous amount from her, just the changes, how she recovers, the wind, the water, the air we breathe, just starting with the 4 directions. And I try to embody her and protect her. And she's a major source of teaching for me. How about you? Poets across time, healers, activists can be our teachers. Strangers. I'm very interested in meeting a stranger a day or somebody I've just never seen. So I put myself out in the world and just stay open to who I'll meet and what they'll teach me. I may teach them something. I feel like we're all teachers, we're all students. And I'm just going to speak a little bit more on what my sources of wisdom are, and I invite you to reflect on yours. Anybody get yogi tea? Yogi tea has these beautiful little spiritual sayings, which I can mull on for a week or a month that I carry around with me. The latest one was, be thankful for things that haven't even happened yet. Or you want a good legacy, leave love in everything you do. You know, just little ditties that evoke something and help me practice something. Silence is a huge teacher for me. I feel more and more that there's wisdom in silence. Daily readings we might do. I read many daily readings, Center for Compassion, Charter for Compassion, Tricycle magazines, a Buddhist magazine, a Christian mystic I read every week, Richard Rohr. Imagine is a life and death organization helping people live into dying. And then there's the kind of popular people on line that I tune into. Trevor Noah. Anybody know Trevor Noah? Political comic, looks at the horror, the absurdity of our culture, mostly our dynamics, and laughs about it, and helps us be agitated enough to do something about it. So it's not just the humor of it, it's how to be positively engaged, agitated. You've heard me mention Desmond Tutu. He is no longer with us in this realm. He died. But just having seen the horrors that he's seen with apartheid and being such a joyous person So joy, finding joy out of justice or injustice. Pema Chodron is a Buddhist teacher I read a lot of and practice. So we just ponder for a minute, what are your daily practices that might help you keep on a path that helps you live from your heart? Is another way of thinking what is spirituality. We'll have time to share in partners in a little bit. My teachers are often braver than I am. I really strive to be braver. So journalists, war correspondents who step into the fray, of war, of natural disaster, of refugee camps, of detention centers, and dare to do the work without collapsing in despair. Very bleak conditions. Mediators in danger zones. Just daring to do very hard work, knowing their lives are at risk. Another group that inspires me regularly is men who are living in prison. And I visit every other month or so and do a weekend workshop, co-facilitated, insiders and outsiders. And I always think I couldn't survive in prison. I don't know what I would do. I couldn't get out. I think I would. Can you die of boredom? Can you die of loneliness? Can you die of very hard conditions? And that they can have a good attitude and be, have hope in hell and stability in a really stupid system, or any kind of calm in a very chaotic place. It's just miraculous to me. So they're my teachers. People who annoy me and challenge me. Some in my family. Not fun teachers to have, but we all have them. And how do we know that somebody who's annoying us can be a teacher? It's a leap, to be able to put my judgments that I'm putting on somebody else and say, Bets, how about yourself? How are you in that way? Are you lazy? Are you selfish? Are you whatever I'm judging somebody as? And the case often is, yeah, I don't want to be, but I am. So, okay, I'll look at myself and turn it around. But our teachers are often very close to us, and we just have to recognize them and be willing to be changed, willing to, change a relationship. Some of them will change. Some relationships will never be what we want them to be, and we decide to move on. But anyway. So a couple more words about being a peacemeister myself, a peace practitioner. I've been to part of many, many groups, and they each ask me a question. Who's heard of the Nonviolent Peace Force? This is a group, nonpartisan, they don't name their faith or politics, but they go into war zones and accompany people and support people and take, just align with them. They sometimes get killed on the job. So they ask me, how much courage do I have? And I have never been to a war zone. I've never been to a refugee center. And I don't want to die like that. I don't know how I do want to die, but I don't think I have it in me to do the kind of work that they do, but I certainly can support them and try to build up my own courage, get over my fears. Code Pink, who knows Code Pink? Women's peace group. Totally different temperament, personality, dressing up in pink, hot pink, and boas and masks and big puppets, and out in the streets, in Congress, in these danger zones as well. And the question they have for me is, how playful can I be in looking for peace and creating peace? And that I can do. I'm a good dancer. I can dress up. I can, be in the limelight for a little bit. So that suits me. Quakers. How many people have ever been to a Quaker meeting? Quiet. And there's a lot of vigils where we don't say anything. We might walk in silence. We might sit in silence where other people are yelling and shouting, and both have their place. But for me, the quiet protest vigil really suits me. So that's something that's how I seek peace, and that's how I try to pass the peace. Okay. So we have our teachers, near and far, famous and not known, strangers and glorified. And we also have tenets, kind of issues, things that we aspire to adhere to. And I'm going to read you just a couple of mine, and then I invite you to think of yours. What kind of, Russ said to me coming in this morning, I'm forgetting what it is, Russ. You said you had a mantra that you're carrying through your day. So far, so good. Just say that. So far, so good. So here are a few of mine that I learned in my 66-year life. Face suffering and serve. Everything changes. Roll with the wheel. Be full of care, not be careful, be full of care. Be daring. Be generous. There's plenty to go around. Balance. Balance effort and ease, joy and sorrow, what is, what can be. A couple more. Live simply so others can simply live. No struggle, no progress. So I'm interested in what keeps me not just comforted and protected and soothed, which is part of faith, but also what keeps me connected and committed out in the world. The world needs a lot of help. Rachel Naomi Remen, anyone heard of her? Wonderful writer. She was a physician turned counselor. And she talks about the difference between helping and serving. She says a helper, when we help somebody, we might see the other person as a little weaker or not as capable or needier than they are. And we take their power away inadvertently. But when we serve from our woundedness, our darkness, our limitations, as well as our strengths and gifts. So if we meet people in our vulnerability and we can feel what it feels like to be helpless or hopeless or stuck or lonely, then we can engage them and together move through that into something else. So I liked her distinction. She wrote Kitchen Table Wisdom and My Grandfather's Blessings, which is a beautiful book. Okay, so let me just do a little time check. Okay. So who are we accountable to? God, all the meanings of God, goodness, our ancestors, how much of a view do they have of our lives? How much are they in our hearts to follow in their footsteps? Fellow meditators, fellow students, humanity as a whole, the earth. One of my greatest teachers when he was alive, and now he's not alive, he's dead, my dad, still remains one of my biggest teachers. I try to be like him in his friendliness and his humility, in his optimism, in his making waves for change. And there's some things that I'm like him that I try to not be so much and try to move out of, which is his sense of entitlement a little bit and expecting a whole lot of others. And sometimes I find myself in those positions. So I thank my dad for keeping me aware and also being a model for me. Maybe we all need a cheerleader. My father was one of my greatest cheerleaders. And when he's not here, it makes me wonder, what do I do? What do we all do when we're not being watched, when we're not being encouraged, praised, guided? We've got to have a lot of internal motivation. And sometimes that comes from, sometimes it's kind of a mystery where that comes from, but some of it comes from the people we have around us that help keep us on our path, on our spiritual path. Just a couple more thoughts. People dying. Have spent quite a bit of time with people at the end of their life, and the courage that I've seen, I can't borrow that courage, but I can feel it and I can learn from it. My little 7-week-old granddaughter and her innocence, her slow awareness waking up, it helps me, be a beginner over and over and over and over again. And to have that sense of awe and, so much unfolding. I have a couple of very dear friends who live in pretty, with serious physical, mental conditions, whose lives have been really limited, and they still have a very big spiritual life. And they really inspire me when this body fades, when our capacities shrink, that the spirit can come alive even more. And I haven't had that experience yet, little tastes, but that's a huge inspiration for me. So I thank my friends for that. And on that note, I would like to have a moment of reflection on, and then we'll have the offertory and we'll move into some partner sharing. But let's just ponder for a few minutes these queries. What if everyone, every element, every experience was potentially our teacher? Who are your teachers? What tenets do you ascribe to at this point in your life, knowing they change? What's your true north, we sometimes call? What are you aspiring to? Where do we recognize wisdom? So with those thoughts, I'm going to ask for the song. Actually, the song of the offertory is called One of Us. And how many people know this song? If God was one of us. What if God was one of us? Okay, so whoever does, come on up. We're going to have an instant choir. So come on up with your sheets. or from where you're sitting, but we'll be able to hear better. Annie, you'll try. And Brian will play the song, and yeah. Okay. So how about play one round and then we'll begin the words. So we'll get the hum in us. So come as close as you are willing, and we'll hear one round and then we'll sing. Do it in la la. La 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 la. Okay. If God had a name, what would it be, and would you call it to his face? If you were faced with him in all his glory, what would you ask if you had just one question. Yeah, yeah, God is great. Yeah, yeah, God is good. Yeah, 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 yeah. What if God was one of us? Just a slum like one of us. Just a stranger on the bus trying to make his way home. Back to heaven all alone. Nobody calling on the phone. Except for the Pope and maybe Rome. Okay, one more verse. God had a face. What would it look like, and would you want to see? If seeing meant that you would have to believe in things like heaven and in Jesus and the saints and all the prophets, and yeah, yeah, God is great. Yeah, yeah, God is good. Yeah, yeah, God is good. What if God was one of us? Just a stream like one of us. Just a stranger on the bus trying to make his way home. No direction of his own. Just like a holy rolling stone. Make his way home. Thank you. Thank you, Winston Choir. Thank you, Brian. So, beautiful song. Well, beautifully sung, quietly sung. But just the idea is we are all lit by divinity. We're all wise. We are who we've been waiting for. Another way to say it. So I would love to move into some partner sharing. So you can share with the person you came with, or you can turn to someone else in our space and find someone to sit with. Be nice to be 2 on 2 and be comfortable together. You can have your masks on or off, whatever you're comfortable with. And I'm just going to invite, just introduce yourself. And then just take about 3 minutes each. I'll time about 3 minutes for each person to share just a little bit of what arose in your heart in this service thus far. Who are your teachers? What are your tenets? What are your spiritual paths that you try to live by? Some of it might be actual, some of it is aspirational. And just really listen to the first person for 3 minutes. No commentary, just listening is a real gift. And then I'll tell you when it's time to switch. So as you're ready, might take a moment, half a moment in silence, and begin when you're ready. So that's 3 minutes. You might take a minute to thank your partner and switch if you haven't already. And that's 3 minutes. Just take another minute to wrap up together And share your thanks, and then we'll come back to our whole circle. You need another hour. Yeah, 3-minute shares open up a lot. Wonderful way to can do this anytime, and obviously longer sharings are wonderful. Oh, that was meant to be during the song. Let's do the offertory now. To keep these services going, to keep the wisdom spinning, to keep the community growing, to do some work out here in the community, social action, film festivals, book groups. Little something, a lot of something is always appreciated. Keep our musicians paid, keep our tech person going. You can play a little bit of anything you like for a couple minutes. Beautiful. Thank you, Brian. Music teacher. So, my friends, let us move into joys and sorrows. Time to share anything in your heart, joys, sorrows, concerns. Maybe we can start with the Zoomers. We have not forgotten about you. Love to hear. Frank has the mic.
Looks like we have one. Oh yeah, we have Emma, Gary, Christine, Uhtred, Lincoln, Roberta, and Carolyn. And I think Emma wants to speak.
Thank you.
Whoop. Unmute yourself, sorry.
Am I unmuted now? Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm here with my mother, who is 99 and a half and who's lived the last 23 years alone. And she's up at our house getting some assistance because she had a very slight injury, not enough to send her into a rehab or a hospital, but needing some help getting around and up and down and so forth. And so she had been enjoying this service with us. And one of our favorite sayings is, the only thing that is constant is change.
Mm.
And I keep saying that to her to help her through this big change.
Thank you so much for being here and your wisdom. Thank you.
Okay, we got anyone else on Zoom? It does not appear as a
Okay. If anybody wants to open this up and share, a tenet of yours or a mantra of yours, that's another thing would be nice to share. So moving into the room. And if you're new and you want to introduce yourself, good time to do that too. So who would like to light a candle of anything? Please.
Recently, a comet came to visit us in the inner solar system. It hasn't been here for 50,000 years, and I was anxious to get a look at it, especially since they said it was green. But every night that it was supposed to be good observing conditions, it was cloudy and I couldn't see it. But I had one last chance last night. I read that it would be visible because it was going to be very close to the planet Mars in the sky. So I went out with my binoculars and I was able to see this little green smudge right near the planet Mars. And so I'd like to light a candle of joy for the beauty and the vastness and the mystery of the universe.
Thank you. Beautiful. The obscured beauty, the hidden beauty, power from afar. Thank you.
My name's Russ, and please light a candle for Brian's music today. Since the pandemic started 3 years ago, I haven't gone out to hear live music. I haven't gone to events. So it's not often that I'm hearing music being played in the same room where I am. And there was something about some of those notes that you played that particularly struck, something in me. So I don't want to take it for granted.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Appreciations, Brian. You moved us with your music.
I'm just responding to Betsy inviting us to share our mantras. One of my greatest teachers was Gandhi. And one of the things he said, I turned into a placard for protest marches. The more force you use, the less influence you have. Isn't that beautiful? What a gift for our times.
Say it once more, please. Say the mantra once more.
The more force you use, the less influence you have.
Yeah.
It's at the heart of the power of nonviolence.
Yeah.
He said, when you stand your ground without taking ground from someone else, And without giving up your ground, you create the most possibility of a human response.
Mm.
You can't keep hitting somebody who's not hitting you back. So the other mantra I love is it's never the end of the story.
Mm.
You know, there's always a chance for us to make a different choice, to learn something we never knew before. And being in my 80s, it's always a thrill to learn something like a planet that's been around for 50,000 years, or a comet or whatever it was. So I give thanks for learning.
Thank you, Sandra. Quiet, peaceful power, learning forever. Thank you.
Someone else who'd like to share something?
Wonderful to hear from everyone if possible, but whatever is possible.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
So happy to be here today. I guess I'd like to light a candle for the welcoming that I felt in the short time that I've been here, and I appreciate that so much. And you know, never to take that for granted from yourself
Mm.
that you've done that today. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, my name is Dodie, and
Jody.
my full name is Dorothea. People call me Dodie. I live here in Greenfield. I've been here for, I guess, maybe 4 years now.
Okay.
So,
Oh,
thank you so
welcome.
much.
Thank you. Thank you for your wisdom.
Welcome.
Anyone else?
I'd like to light a candle for, excuse me, all the workers that are over in Syria and
Mm.
Turkey. And for the lives that are still being found after so many days. And also that I was out doing my Tai Chi rounds this morning, and a nice bald eagle flew over, and I said, thank you so much. Thank you for that. So there you go.
Thank you. Thank you. Prayers for all those in danger.
I'm Rob, and Sandra, your sharing from Gandhi reminds me of one of my tenets inadvertently. And Brian, you exemplify it. So let me explain. The tenet is that practice doesn't make perfect, but persistence makes polish. The difference between someone like me playing the piano is that it's a powerful effort. When Brian plays the piano, it's effortless power. I don't drink yogi tea, but I do love little short aphorisms. And in honor of Valentine's Day, this is one I've cherished for a long time. Love is a friendship set to music. And Kate, would you please light a candle for me of sorrow for a young man I saw standing with a sign on a street corner. And when I gave him a small contribution, he thanked me, and I basically just said, you know, hang in there. And he said to me, I'm applying for jobs. I just can't get anything. And it just saddens me to no end that someone who's young and I'm sure has gifts to offer in a society that's as rich as this still winds up in the bitter cold, standing with a sign, hoping to get a few bucks from people as they pass by. On a far more positive note, my daughter and her boyfriend and her service dog are all visiting a really dear friend of hers in Boston, and it's the first time she and her boyfriend have had a weekend stay together, and I haven't heard a peep, and I'm hoping that no news is good news. And if she does call, I'm going to paraphrase the song that you shared, Betsy, and just tell her that God loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Maria. I want to light a candle for the joy of sharing wisdom and fellowship, and listening to the wisdom of all beings. We have a little puppy who's teaching us and reminding us every day how wonderful life is and how many things there are to learn and jump for joy about every day.
Thank you. Here's to jumping for joy.
Only humans had tails we could wag.
We can do that. That's a really happy thing to do, wag your tail. Any last ones on Zoom?
How about, I'll walk over that way,
Yeah.
but I'll do one
Sure,
with the mic.
please.
So a tenet is kindness and and generosity. And I just want to say, Jennifer was such a role model, a teacher in that. We, the church collected and gave her $300 for gas money for traveling to Texas, moving to Texas, leaving us. And so we figured, okay, we don't need to give her something. We'll give her some money to get there. And she gave it to Sheila, who had been living with her and was going to be returning to the streets because she wasn't able to find housing. So she gave it away. And person was like, no, that was for you. And now I know it was a very generous, kind thing for her, which was totally normal.
Here's to paying it forward, which we can all do. Beautiful. Thank
All
you.
set?
Okay. Frank, good on some, okay, okay. So just a moment, silence for all the joys, concerns, sorrows, looming tenants in our heart. May we feel it all. Feel love wrapped around all those concerns. Face it all, feel it all, and get the support of each other to live this full, full life. Yeah. And our benediction today is in also your order of worship. And I would love for us to read this together. Much slower than we usually read, again, so we can feel it, own it, live it. So here we go. What if our religion was each other? If our practice was our life, prayer, our words? What if the temple was the earth, the forest, our church, holy water, the rivers, lakes, oceans? What if meditation was our relationships? If the teacher was life? If wisdom was self-knowledge? If love was the center of our being? And that's written by Ganga White, a yogi. And I would say, may it be so, and blessed be. And we go forth with peace and a little unrest. And the postlude is kind of a rousing song down by the riverside. You're welcome to sing, hum, dance, listen. Thank you. The mic. Oh, sorry.
We're gonna lay
Down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside, gonna lay down my soul cheer. Down by the riverside, ain't no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. 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 Ain't gonna study war no Study war no more. Don't study war Yeah, thank you, Robin Bryan. Wonderful. Wonderful and nice. Announcements. We go with a little vigor and activism in our toes and our voices. Kate's gonna get the mic. Yep. Okay. Please. Okay.
I'm coming along now. So this is Mother Teresa. This is a thought to take home with you. Love has a hem on her garment that reaches to the very dust. It sweeps the stains from the streets and lanes. And because she can, she must.
Thank you, Annie.
Do we have a, somebody from Social Justice Committee about the meeting today at 12:30? At the Weldon. So at 12:30, there's going to be a social justice meeting in the community room. If anybody's interested in knowing where that is or anything more, I think I can help.
Thank you. Any other announcements? On Zoom, anyone?
Looking for a greeter next Sunday. Sunday by Sunday. All right. we'll get you.
Okay,
Oh,
Yes.
coffee and some banana bread.
nice. Come join us for a few, sip of something, taste of something, friendship.
Maria. I can tell you I'll tell you in person, okay? Thank you.
Thanks for being here, everybody.